What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and we're looking at probably one of the most growth-oriented portfolios that is a more of a longer-term hold. Then we're not seeing a lot of Carnival Cruise Line stocks in here. We're not seeing a traditional YOLO calls here and just doing very far out of the money options. We're seeing a very well diverse and planned portfolio here from this individual. This is from the articles that I'll name my first son Shopify, and of course Shopify, you can kind of see here highlighted here, is nearly 683% gainer for him of nearly $234,000. Initial investment a little about $35,000 and making quite a bit of money. Initial cost average of the stock is around 108, and we'll zoom out looking at the chart on the time period that we'll be looking at here. Some other large positions that we're looking at here. Again, we're not looking at any Carnival Cruise Lines. We're not looking at any Nikola plays. We're not looking at any kind of YOLO options here. This is a very well growth-oriented portfolio, minus the Wells Fargo in here. I think you might have just bought that on a dip for sure. We have Zoom video here. We have Trade Desk here. We have Teledoc here. We also have Roku, OKTA, SE, which is something that I've just recently learned about. Very well long-term holding positions here. We're just going to be diving into some charts here. We're going to be looking at particular Shopify. We can look at OKTA. We'll look at Zoom, and that's probably what we'll look at here, particularly on this video. Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and flip to the charts. Boop. There we go, my transition there. That being said, let's look at Shopify. This thing, again, his initial cost average was around 108 shares. Then he has a total of 315 of those. So even on the daily chart, the 1 year daily chart is not showing up here. So we're gonna have to go to the 3 year weekly chart, and you start seeing the 108 price target potentially buy-in could have been initially around the November time frame. Again, that is the November of 2017. Okay, so then you have 18 happening here, all of 18, 19, 20. So this has been nearly a 3 year hold for this individual to make this kind of return. And this is usually, if you do the homework, you understand the market, and you are growth oriented, this is a section that really took off. Who knew at something that was $100 would be at $895 3 years later? Again, look at Tesla, look at Amazon, look at all these other various companies that have been flying very high. Apple, Adobe, all these companies are very growth-oriented stocks. So this one, without a doubt, is a very high growth-oriented thing, and it has really taken off due to the overall virus and the pandemic for sure, due to a switch in business trend and kind of speeding up the overall cycle of what we potentially could have seen. That being said, this thing is still performing extremely well, basically making an all-time high just today again. Again, that $895. That is quite substantial here. Again, what we're looking at here, the 5, 8, and 21, 34, and the 50 simple moving average. The red is simple, the rest are exponential. We are looking, again, this thing is very I wouldn't say extended, but it has had multiple small gap ups. Potentially could start seeing the RSI start hitting the overbought, which is going to be 80 plus on my target or my charts here, for potential trading sideways and kind of waiting for these moving averages to kind of catch up. Some typical, we can look at some overhead resistance here. We're going to look from the previous swing high to swing low, and it didn't connect like it should have. Actually, we can go, this is the low here, there we go, and swing high, and if it works, there we go. You can kind of see here today that 1272 extension kind of broke through. It didn't close above it, so initially the 886 level, basically we didn't have it close above it, but that would be initial first line there, and then we're looking at potentially the 942. Not meaning this is going to be happening tomorrow, but that could be a very strategic target to try to hit that particular thing. And then again, showing some downward support again where the 100 would be. if you're being aggressive in day trading this or particular swing trading this in a very short time frame, the 5 and 8 exponential moving average will come into play. Again, this thing has been kind of traded sideways, but with some recent news and acquisitions that they're partnering with other companies, has this really rocketed this substantially higher for, again, that all-time high. Just being mindful, there isn't a crazy amount of volume coming in here. There is significant volume, but nothing outlandish that we could be seeing a further pump higher. So I can kind of see this trend potentially come Monday continue going higher again if the overall market is performing well relatively to everything. Again, just being mindful, again, the RSI and volume oscillator down here are kind of near its peak, so if you haven't taken profits slightly yet, to take a little bit off the table depending on what your trading strategy was, I would, for my opinion. Alright, so that is Shopify. Now let's go ahead and go to a second largest position, and greatest return actually was OKTA. So OKTA, which a lot of people don't actually know what they do like a enterprise grade security for like two-form authentication and different various things like that, and kind of move that model around. Again, this is of course picked up again as with the overall virus and everything, and his initial starting position was at $38. So $38 again is not even here on the daily chart. We have to go back to the weekly chart and look for the $38 price target. So that would be basically around the same time, a little bit later in 2018, it wasn't 2017, that he bought in way back here, and of course it has been riding it up. On the weekly side of things, this thing has been hugging the 8 and 5 exponential moving average and coming down a handful of times, usually around the quarter, because they kind of the earnings report, they kind of sandbag things and don't give the world's greatest guidance, but then the next quarter they come out and just beat it. This being said, the 34 and 21 have been pretty strong lines in the sand, and really the 50-day has come through multiple times to kind of cushion it the fall and kind of give it guidance to continue riding going higher. That being said, again, with the overall pandemic that came into play with the virus, of course we saw a short sell-off because that was emotional selling, but ever since then, when everyone got their senses back into the light and start seeing things properly, you start seeing a very good trend here again. The 5, 8, 21 very nicely stacked, coming down a couple times, testing the 21. Again, that 34 here on the daily side is going to be coming in for ongoing support. Looking for a nice kind of retracement to the 21 for potential kick higher. We're looking for at least 200 to 205 push higher. We can do also a quick fib analysis here from swing high to swing low if it clicks. Thank you. Looking for targets around 215 potentially. On this one in particular, the RSI is still somewhat low relatively to what we just looked at Shopify. This is only at 60. This has pretty much further ways to go to that 80 plus marker, and that same goes for the volume oscillator. So if we continue seeing the bulls coming in, purchasing this stock, and see this momentum kicking higher, we could easily see the $200 plus price target within OKTA within a short period of time. On the downside, the parabolic SAR has to switch to the bottom of the ticks here, so you can kind of see this is still kind of holding it down potentially. I think with some more momentum coming in, some steam with the overall market and more buyers being more bullish on this, this could easily switch and reverse to the bottom here to give it some more upward support to kind of break above that $200 limit. On the downside, we're looking for support basically around the 21 and 34. This one does move quite drastically if some bad news comes out, but just be mindful again. There are a lot of buyers potentially at the 34 and 50 at this particular stock. And then next and last one, we're going to be looking at ZM, or actually Zoom communication, video communication. And this one, of course, has been on everyone's mind. This has been, you've probably been in a Zoom meeting just today. That being said, with everyone basically adding this into their vocabulary, like Google and everything else, this has just becoming a precedent in the business community, and just even outside of that, with the potential of having this huge upward movement. Really everyone discovering this new form of working remote, being able to do things like that. this particular guy's position, Mercenary, EL Mercenary, that's the individual from the Wall Street Bets who posted this wonderful portfolio here that we're looking at now, is basically his buy-in for this one was around 97. So again, that was even with the overall pandemic kind of starting out, potentially, he was already in this stock, kind of being very much in the forefront. So this individual is very intuitive in his stock picking, has been holding since like $97. Again, that was around the February time frame, and it has just been climbing up ever since then, of course, getting pretty large swings. But you can kind of see here on the 50-day simple moving average, that's the red dash line here, has been really strong support. The 34 and 21 have been strong as well, but the 50-day has been really a strong level of support if it really aggressively sells off multiple days, looking for a potential rounded bottom to kind of continue going higher. Even though just in the last 2 weeks, Zoom has really taken off, even after its quarter, really just growing growth and becoming in a lot of the large hedge funds, one of their larger portfolios, one of the largest investments, and a lot of the top investors, in particular, again, like the hedge funds and pensions, for sure, considering a very large cap growth stock potentially trending and trading within the world. That being said, this is going to be a hard one to judge. Again, this is really making an all-time highs. We can do kind of some of these Fibonacci retracements here to swing high to swing low to kind of gauge on what we could be seeing. Potential price targets we have around is 268 potentially. Again, that is somewhat slightly extension here from the Fibonacci retracements. We do see the 5, 8, and 21, 34, 50, and 200 very nicely stacked here, potentially just seeing trading higher. Like, unless I don't think this is you're not gonna be able to put this genie back in the bottle, in the sense of this is a new technology that more people are being shown to using, and it's not going to be something that's going to be going away within the near-term future. Even though multiple other platforms already have this, this is just basically the creme of the creme here for sure. That being said, guys, thank you again so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor. If you're interested, we have a fantastic Discord chat down below. We just call it the Dyslexic Investors Club. We got, I don't know, 300 plus odd people in there right now. We share discussions. We post news articles. We do some trading charts. We show some trading ideas, things like that. We also have a Patreon page if you're interested in joining that to help support the channel directly. That's also in the description below. And that's basically it. And I'll probably see you guys all for a fantastic live stream this Sunday at 9 p.m. For our traditional stock market stock talk Sundays. For that, stay tuned. Again, thank you everyone for coming out last night for a fantastic viewing of the 30 minutes or plus at the beginning of the live stream, showing on the technical analysis tips that I use as well. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace!